The following podcast contains adult content, including adult language. I talk openly about sex and other adult topics. If you are under the age of 18 or are uncomfortable listening to sexually explicit narratives, please listen no further. I am not a professional therapist, counselor, or doctor. I'm just an average guy in the swinger lifestyle who likes to share his experiences. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Please seek a professional if you are in need of guidance or care as it relates to sexual health or alternative lifestyles. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Evan Swings, a podcast about the swinger lifestyle from the perspective of a guy in the lifestyle. I'm your host, Evan, and I'm the one who swings, as well as my lovely wife, Eva. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, if you are a new listener, I strongly recommend that you start with my first episodes as they detail our journey into the lifestyle chronologically. You know, the first 7 or so episodes, I believe. Not necessary, though. If you decide to stay and continue listening to this episode, no background info is needed. I'm very glad you're here. And returning listeners, welcome back as always. Glad you are here as well. In my last episode, I talked about the experience that we had at a clothing optional resort outside of Cancun. It is called Desire Riviera Maya Pearl. There are 2 Desire resorts in the area, and one is just called Desire Riviera Maya, and the other one, they slap the word Pearl on the end of it. So Desire Riviera Maya Pearl. Eva and I went in early August of 2024, and this episode is all about our stay there, all about our experience there. So today I'm going to talk to you about the Pearl. And Eva told me not to do my very bad Jack Sparrow impersonation, but I was determined, and there you had it. Did it anyway. So we're going to talk about the Pearl. What you can expect, what you can't expect, and what we can hopefully pass on to you in terms of experience should you ever decide to go there yourself or someplace similar, because we imagine that these types of resorts are fairly similar in nature. So what we experienced here, probably very similar to another type of resort, similar resort. Now, I will say this one more thing before I begin. If you were ever to I would never want you to skip an episode of Evan Swings, but if you were ever going to skip one, this may be the one that you choose, because this episode's gonna be a little bit different. It's not gonna be about an experience we had in the lifestyle, not like a fun adventure we went on. This is more of a review of a resort and letting you know what you could experience if you went to a similar resort. So if you have no intention, no desire to ever go to a lifestyle resort or a clothing optional all-inclusive resort, this episode may not be for you. But regardless, I hope you will find it interesting, whether you intend to go to a similar resort or not. So let me start off by saying the stay at the resort was wonderful. Our travel to and from our destination was a complete disaster. So that's where we'll start. Okay, I'll talk about the travel involved and what we learned for next time. And we really do hope there's going to be a next time. So friends, let me tell you, do not connect. Find a direct flight to Cancun. If you have to pay a little more or drive a little farther to get to an airport that offers a nonstop flight to Cancun, do it. Okay? Our next recommendation is that you don't use American Airlines. All of our travel problems, and we had a ton of them, stemmed from the fact that we flew American Airlines. And it was made far worse by connecting through Philadelphia. We were delayed by 15 hours and stranded overnight there on the way home. Now, if we were stranded in Cancun for an extra night, awesome. Okay, we would have gone back to the resort and paid for another night there. I mean, we would have loved that. We would have totally done that if we knew we would not be getting home until the day after we expected to be home. It was awful. So yes, don't connect. Fly direct. And and the other way around, if we flew out of Columbus to get to Cancun and we were delayed overnight, well, we could have just come back home. But we chose to connect. So don't connect. Okay. That was our biggest regret of the entire trip. Airline customer service, we have learned, is not like customer service in other industries. If you have a bad experience at a restaurant, they'll usually, comp you. They'll give you a free meal or give you some kind of compensation. If you order a faulty product from Amazon or Walmart, you can return it and get your money back. We just had some trees trimmed at our house. They missed a limb that was close to a power line. So I called them and they came back and they fixed their mistake. These companies, they'll stand by their service or their product, but not airlines. They don't have to give you back a cent, or so they feel. And we think they have a loophole that they love to use. And this is just what we think. This is what we've heard. I don't know for sure. But if they say your flight is canceled, they are required to give you compensation. So they don't use that word. They avoid it like the plague. Instead, they use the term overnight delayed. And this is total BS. And I'm currently embroiled in a battle with this airline to try and acquire some form of compensation for the nightmare we went through. I mean, they didn't even want to put us in a hotel for the night. They didn't even want to do that. The gate agent actually fought for us and made them use a different code or something to allow her to give us a voucher to a hotel. But the hotel was a roach motel. I cannot believe how bad it was, and that the airlines actually put people there. The wallpaper was literally coming off the walls. There were no shades on the lamps. There was mold and mildew in the shower. The furniture was falling apart. It was awful. So, fly direct if at all possible. And carry on luggage if you can. We checked we checked our luggage and had to go to that roach motel without our toiletries or a change of clothes because our luggage was on the plane till the next day. It was just awful. Now, transportation to the resort, we opted to pay the extra $100 to have a private service take us to and from the airport. And that was a wise move. Looking back, that was wise. When you walk out of the Cancun airport, you are immediately inundated, just hounded by taxi drivers and transportation services, all trying to get your money. So it was very nice to just head right through that crowd and find our service provider, and they took us from there. And it was about 30 minutes from the airport. If we had rented a car and driven ourselves, we would have been in big trouble. It was very hard to navigate, very tight quarters on the streets, signs in Spanish that we didn't understand. So, we're very glad we opted for the private service. I will admit, though, there were some moments of slight fear, and Eva agrees with me on this one. We put our faith in this guy we didn't know, who didn't speak English very well, and the resort itself is not located in some big, open, touristy area. You go through this, the center of town, which was fairly touristy, and then you go like off on this back road that seemingly leads to nowhere. Like there's no beach in sight, no touristy stuff in sight. There's nothing but lush vegetation on either side of you. And for a moment or two, I wondered, it crossed my mind, is this guy leading us somewhere to kill us or rob us? Is he going to pull over and some gang or cartel guys jump out and kidnap us? But after those minorly fearful moments, we suddenly emerged from the vegetation and arrived at the entrance of Desire Pearl. And there's no big grand driveway or signage. It just kind of sort of appears out of nowhere. So next up, you have to understand that you are not actually going to a lifestyle resort. And that is the assumption that Eva and I made. We assumed that Desire Pearl was a lifestyle resort, and we would be attending with other couples, all of whom were in the lifestyle. Not the case. Desire Pearl is an all-inclusive, couples-only, clothing-optional resort. But it does not mention anything about the lifestyle in its description. We discovered that only about 50% maybe of the couples in attendance were actually lifestyle couples. The other 50% were simply nudists. They were just there to enjoy a resort that didn't require clothing. And I have to admit, Eva and I were kind of bummed when we found this out. We arrived and assumed everyone we saw there was going to be a swinger. But that was just not true. And had we known, we maybe would have approached our stay differently. When you arrive, the staff asks you to schedule and sit through an hour-long presentation where they try to get you to become members. They try to sell you on that. And I would compare it to a presentation where you're trying to be sold a timeshare. There is a reward for sitting through the presentation. It is a good deal if you have the money and the flexibility. Okay, so if you were interested in becoming a member and you have the money and the flexibility, it's a good deal. We admit it. So it was interesting to hear about that. But just for listening, they also give you a $150 credit to be used at the resort for massages, spa treatments, or the ridiculously overpriced gift shop. But anyway, during this presentation, we were asked about our stay because it was on our last day there that we had our presentation. And we were honest and said that we were really enjoying it. But we wish there was a way to better identify the couples who were here to swing and the couples who were here to just be naked. So we suggested to the very nice, very attractive woman that guests be given a specific color bracelet that identified their preferences. Maybe like one certain color for a nudist, another color for a full swap swinger, another color for a soft swap swinger, or a parallel play type person or type couple, and maybe another one for just leave us alone, just mind your own business. She seemed to really like the idea. And she actually suggested using a colored bead to add to our bracelets, because during your stay, the entire time you wear a colored bracelet with a piece, like a piece of technology that actually unlocks your room door. Like you just hold your bracelet and it acts as your key. You hold it up to the panel by the door. And those are color coded as well. Ours was yellow as first-time visitors to the resort, and there were also white bracelets for return visitors and black for members. So she was suggesting adding a colored bead to the bracelet. So, my friends, if you ever go to Desire Pearl and there are colored beads or colored bracelets that identify your lifestyle preferences or lack thereof, that's because of Eva and me, okay? That's us. We're eager to see if they really do implement this or if she was just acting, complimentary so we'd buy a membership package or, make us feel special. So, what is there to do at the resort during the day? Nothing, really. And that's one of the best parts about it. You have a huge pool divided into two sections. You have a louder party-style pool area and then a quieter, more relaxing pool area. And the party side has a swim-up bar, which is awesome. And then you have a hot tub big enough for dozens of people, also with a swim-up bar, and beds for play around the outside of it. There's also a beach, obviously, with beds there as well, if you listened to my last episode. So the resort is all about relaxation during the day. Eva and I, we got a bed by the pool, because along the pools they have nice beds, and I would say they're queen size beds that kind of recline. So we got one of those with a covered by a canopy, and we just laid there and relaxed, and we swam, and we drank a lot. And that's what you do all day. You swim, you relax, you eat, you drink, you sunbathe, and it really is quite incredible. And the staff caters to your every need. They will bring you drinks, get you towels, whatever you need. Or you can get them yourself. Some guy even came by and cleaned Eva's sunglasses for her. They also have games and contests throughout the day. There's volleyball, both pool and beach volleyball. There's basketball in the pool. There's exercise classes, dance classes, and just some other fun stuff and activities. Eva and I, we participated in a pool activity that was pretty fun. So she and two other women sat topless on the edge of the pool. Then the staff members blindfolded me and the other women's spouses, the other women's husbands. And one at a time, we had to go up to the women, we were led up to them blindfolded, and we had to feel their boobs. Our job was to try and figure out which one was our wife. Well, I have to say, I know Eva's boobs may be better than her. So it was easy for me. But also nice that I got to feel some other women's boobs. Then it was the guys' turn. Okay, so we had to sit on the edge, and the women were given a choice. They were blindfolded, and they could either grab our dicks or caress our chests and try to guess which one was their husband. And Eva did a great job. But they played a prank on her, and they probably do this, every time, but I thought it was awesome. If she guessed correctly, she was supposed to be rewarded with a kiss from me. So that's how she was supposed to know that she guessed correctly. So they worked it out with me secretly that I would kiss her and then immediately move to the side so that when she took off her blindfold, it would appear that one of the staff members actually kissed her. And it was pretty funny. Eva wasn't exactly fooled, but she was confused for just a second, just enough to get a good laugh out of it. Let's talk about the food. The food, especially the breakfasts, were absolutely amazing. Okay, or the food was absolutely amazing. I think it was the best breakfast buffet of my life. They had so much stuff to choose from, it was ridiculous. They had an omelet station every morning, pastries, muffins, baked goods, cereals, fresh exotic fruits like papaya and guava. And then you had the hot stuff, like, oh my goodness. Okay, they had things that I would never have even thought of as breakfast foods, like chicken and goat cheese. I would have never even thought to try chicken and goat cheese. But I figured, what the heck, I'll give everything a shot. Loved it. It was probably my favorite thing that I ate the entire trip. Chicken and goat cheese. Refried beans was a staple every morning. Potatoes and quesadillas of all kinds of interesting foods like chicken and beef and pork for breakfast. It was incredible. Loved going to breakfast every day. We never actually did go to lunch though. We heard that there was a nice lunch buffet every day, but we weren't really compelled to eat a full meal during the day. So I decided to grab a pizza each day. Right outside one of the restaurants there, and it's really close to the pool, there was a pizza stand set up with a brick oven pizza. So I enjoyed that each day because it was quick, it was easy, and I could bring it to our poolside bed and just sit there and eat it and enjoy, and then get right back to doing nothing. It was fantastic. Now there were 3 restaurants on site. Okay, there was the Aphrodite, and that was like your regular dinner cuisine. Nothing specialized, just a good variety. And that's where we had breakfast each day, and that's where lunch was served each day. Then there was a restaurant that specializes in Asian cuisine, and then you had the Pearl, which was more of an upscale restaurant that alternated between Italian and French cuisine. For the Pearl, it was required that men wear long pants and closed shoes. The other restaurants didn't specify a dress code. It was just, casual. But all of the food was delicious. But we found that I think it was called Suki, the Asian restaurant. And the Pearl, it was a little bit too fancy for my blood. Eva had no problem with it. She loved it. But I found it a little bit too fancy. I prefer larger portions and just give me good food. But it seemed like, I don't know, I don't care what it looks like on the plate. Eva and I recently watched a TV show called The Bear, and it's all about fine dining, and where they just put a lot of effort into how the food looks. And we felt like we were in one of the restaurants in The Bear. It doesn't have to look like fine dining for us to enjoy. But again, it was good. Portions were a bit small, but if you wanted, you could always order additional food. And let me just say, while I'm thinking about it, steaks in this particular area are not like the steaks that we're used to in the States. Okay, there is, I think one of the steaks they advertised was a ribeye, and another was the New York strip. So I ordered the New York strip. It was not a New York strip steak. It was not. And it didn't appear grilled. Just seemed kind of fried in a frying pan. It was still tasty, but very fatty and not what you would expect at a fine dining restaurant in the United States. But the best food, the absolute best, and perhaps my favorite part of the entire trip, besides the sex on the beach, was the midnight taco bar. Every night from midnight until I think it was 3 a.m., you could go to the lobby where a chef would prepare right in front of you fresh street tacos. They were amazing, especially at that hour. pork, chicken, beef, chorizo. They were just fantastic. Usually the shows ended by 10:30 and we were done dancing and spent time in the hot tub. So by that time, it was time for tacos. Now, speaking of the shows, every night in the hotel lobby, there would be a themed pre-show. They would have a band or a DJ, and everyone was welcome to dress in the night's theme. The nights we were there, there was uniform night. So Eva and I dressed like police officers. Like she was a police officer, I was a SWAT officer or agent, whatever you call it. Then there was Greek god and goddess night. There was BDSM night. And then there was angel and devil night. So it was fun to see everyone in costume, but it's totally optional. So you don't have to get dressed up. And not everyone did. After the pre-show, the doors opened to the disco, which is what they call their nightclub, the disco. You'd go in there, and there was another bar inside, because there was one in the lobby. I think it was a 24-hour bar in the lobby. And then, so there's one there where the pre-show was. And then you go into the disco, and there's another bar there as well, along with a dance floor. And there would be a show performed there. So after the pre-show, there was the actual show. Night one was a stripper show, and it was fantastic. The next two nights were like dancers and acrobats, and I'll get to night 4 in a moment. So after these shows, the dance floor opened, and the DJ started playing. This is where one of my major complaints about the club comes in. It may be because of the language barrier. It may be because of cultural differences. It may be because I'm a former professional DJ and I'm critical of other DJs. But the music sucked. Okay, they would always play the club remix versions of songs like Blurred Lines and lots of Pitbull songs. But they were never actual songs. They were never like the actual songs. It was like the techno remix versions with some extra bass kicked in. And it just wasn't as fun as we expected. You know, especially considering I would say about 75% of the guests were our age or older. Not our type of music. So we ended up dancing, but not as much as we wanted to, and we love dancing. So that was a little bit disappointing. But let me tell you about the most disappointing thing. On our fourth and final evening, there was no show in the disco. Instead, it was in the lobby. It was a fashion show. And all this was it was just staff members parading through the lobby wearing, get this, clothing and accessories from the gift shop. Eva and I, we even laughed because at one point one of the dudes was wearing this big, enormous hat, and you can see the price tag just hanging off of it. And the gift shop prices for clothing were just absolutely ridiculous. But there was a discount if you purchased something right after the show. There was no way anyone who was not wealthy was buying something they saw in that fashion show. Okay, nobody I saw was inspired to run over and buy something they saw. And to be honest, we found it kind of tacky to even do this. You know, I mean, they really couldn't come up with something better than a fashion show, which was basically just advertising their gift shop. I mean, the other shows were just fantastic. They were great. So this was kind of a big letdown, especially for our last night there. You know, we went to it on our last night before we went home. I'm trying to think of what else I want to tell you about. Tipping. Tipping is something you should be familiar with, all right? We tipped way too much. It took us a few days to learn we were going overboard. tipping is optional, but kind of expected. I tipped our bellboy and our cleaning staff a lot. I also tipped our pool guy a lot. When we showed up at the pool for the first time, we went straight to the towel counter where an awesome guy named Horatio greeted us. So I tipped him $20 right then and there, and he got us a great bed by the pool, right in the middle of the quiet pool area and the party pool area. So it was pretty much the perfect area. He set up our towels, he made our bed, so we were ready to go. And I tipped him $10 each day for the next 3 days after that. But he deserved it, okay? I have no regrets about that. He even called our room on the second day to make sure we were still coming to the pool because he got our bed all set up and ready for us. Breakfast, I tipped $5. And dinner at Suki, I tipped 10. And at the Pearl, I tipped 15. So no regrets on any of those, except maybe breakfast. I could have gotten away with just a couple of bucks because that was really just a buffet. After they seat you, they really don't interact with you. I think they ask if you need anything, and then if you don't, they don't come back to you. But I definitely tipped the bartenders too much at first. I went to the bank prior to our trip and got a crap ton of $5 and $10 bills. So I was tipping the bartenders $5 and the taco chef $5 and the pizza guy $5 and anyone else that helped us $5. And that really started to add up. On day 3, I went to the lobby and I changed some larger bills for singles. That was the way to go. That's what we learned. So after I made that exchange, every time I got a drink for Eva, every time I got a drink for myself, $1 or $2, and that was it. Tacos, $2. Pizza, $2 or $3. A drink from the bar, $1 or $2. That was it. That was definitely the way to go. And I think more properly proportionate. I mean, we're at an all-inclusive resort. If I tipped $5 for every drink, that would be like paying for the drink. So next time, I'm definitely bringing more singles. What else? The resort itself is a little dated. The rooms are bare, by the way. No wall decorations at all, and it just seemed a little on the older side. For the most part, very well kept. I just kind of felt it was in need of some minor modern updates. We stayed in a master suite, and there is a ton of room, more than we needed. So next time we might do a junior suite. The master suite has 2 full bathrooms, 2 sitting areas, 2 balconies, and your bed. It's basically like a double room. Beautiful ocean view, but just way more space than we needed. So I said there's 2 bathrooms, okay? One of the bathrooms is located right when you walk in the suite, and the other is located right off the bedroom. So I decided to make the front bathroom the poop room. If you had to go number 2, use that bathroom, away from the bedroom and away from the sitting areas. So yeah. And if you are looking for a lot of space, the master suite is for you. But I think Eva and I, we might downgrade next time. We might. We didn't need or even really use all that extra space. If we met a lot of people and want to invite them back to our room, that would have been very helpful to have all that space. But it was just us. And so, yeah, it was just a lot of open space. We did have an ant problem as well. No food around. But I woke up on day 2 with tons of these teeny tiny ants running all around on the nightstand next to my bed. It was quite off-putting. So I called the front desk and they sprayed. But later on that same day, we found more. And now they were in our bed. So we had to call again, and thankfully, the second treatment took care of the problem. And there were other wildlife there too. Lots and lots of lizards, iguanas and geckos, all over the place. And there are even signs up that say not to feed the wildlife. And then there was this one animal we had never seen before. I looked it up. It's called a quati. Picture a cross between a raccoon and an aardvark. You get a quati. There was one in particular who was not afraid of humans at all, and he would get uncomfortably close to us while we were trying to relax by the pool. And we didn't, we're told not to interact with wildlife, so we were just hoping it would kind of go away. So I kind of shushed it away, but man, it was not afraid at all. I guess we can talk about the humans there too. People of all different shapes, sizes, and ages, although we seem to be, even at 47, to be on the younger side. It seemed like, a lot of older couples. And it also seemed like the club was at about half capacity, maybe less. So please keep that in mind as I ramble on. There was less people than what we think normally go. There were no same-sex couples either. That was surprising. But we were told that it was culturally frowned upon in that area, so that may be why. But being a clothing optional resort was certainly interesting and liberating. I mean, you had dicks dangling everywhere, boobs galore, both attractive and unattractive kinds. But I have to say, I admired all the guys who had no inhibitions and paraded around, many with tiny dicks, and a lot of big guts too, but no judgment anywhere. I mean, it was awesome. Eva spent most of her time by the pool and by the hot tub topless. Now I was uncomfortable taking my trunks off in the pool, but I did go in the hot tub completely naked. By the fourth and final day, I felt very comfortable and confident. So next time, I don't think I will have any issues with comfort. I will say this. If you are a swinger going to the resort to meet other swingers, you got to be outgoing. More so than Eva and myself. We're just not the types to just walk or swim up to random strangers and start chatting. We kind of relied on others to come up to us, and very few did. And being honest, because we think the resort was kind of half capacity, there weren't even a whole lot of options that we were super interested in. But like I said earlier, it would have been easier if we knew who in fact was a swinger. But there was no way to tell. And we didn't want to offend someone, even if we did have the confidence to go up to people. We didn't want to offend them. So we kind of kept our distance for the most part. We were thankful that we did meet some very nice people, though, who we could talk to. And, we were only interested in, vanilla fun with them. But it was nice. It was nice that we had people come up to us and talk. But if I had more confidence and was more outgoing, I think I would have had a lot more fun. There were 2 nights where Eva and I, we just sat in the hot tub off to the side by ourselves, dozens of other people in the pool, dozens of other couples in the hot tub, and no one talked to us. Shyness was a detriment for sure. And it's weird too, because I couldn't get it in my head that I would never see these people again in my life. Why did I care? Why couldn't I just go up to people and introduce myself? I have to work on that, especially if we go again. And we fully do expect to go again. We said that a long time ago. When we had our 10th anniversary, we went on a cruise. Eva and I, we went on a cruise and we loved it. And we couldn't wait to take another one. We're like, oh my gosh, we got to go back. We got to do another cruise. That was 15 years ago and have never been on another cruise. So we're saying this now, though. We're saying this again. Different stage in our life. We fully expect to go back to this resort, or at least one similar. Now, we did have one interesting encounter that I'll tell you about. I said this is mostly a review of the club, but I'll throw in a little story here. On SDC, you can actually show your travel plans. You can select your destination. You select the dates you'll be there. And anyone else who does the same, you can connect with them online and chat with them if you wish. Well, one couple reached out to us. We had absolutely no interest in them whatsoever, simply based on physical appearance. They were quite a bit older than us and just to us, not attractive. They might have been very attractive to other people, not to us. They wrote something like, we'll be at Pearl while you're there. We'd love to chat and see where the vibe takes us. And I responded that we were happy to talk to them, but after seeing their profile, we didn't think we were a match for spicy fun. And they responded with 4 words: "Thanks for the message." And that was it. Well, the dude, who we nicknamed Douche Guy, thought he was just the shit. He talked to everyone and acted like everyone loved him. I assure you, they did not. We talked to a couple of other people who found him quite off-putting as well. Well, he approached us in the pool and started talking to us. He asked us where we were from, and when we said Ohio, it clicked. And he got kind of all high and mighty and was like, "Oh yeah, we remember you now." And he said it in a way like, "Yeah, you stupid asses wanted nothing to do with us, and we're offended because we're fucking awesome." Again, he didn't say that. That's just the impression that he made on us. And he was just a major jerk. Okay, so we call him Douche Guy, or DG for short. And he and his wife just seemed to be everywhere. We couldn't get away from him. And he talked to everyone. Some, we could tell, had disgusted faces like, "Get the hell away from me." But a small part of me admired him. I mean, he was just so confident and was able to talk to everyone. And he just assumed that everyone he spoke to would enjoy speaking to him. And I admire that. I really do. I wish I had that. So he might have found may have found a match and got more action than Eva and myself. Very possible, I guess, because about how outgoing he was. And that was it. That was our trip to Desire Riviera Maya Pearl. A great place. We highly recommend it. We would also assume that most other clothing optional, all-inclusive resorts operate similarly. So even if you don't plan on going to this particular resort, I hope that it gives you some insight as to how this type of place works. And it's definitely a fantastic experience. I would find it would be hard to really hate your time there. I can see being disappointed with some things. Like my last episode, I talked about a couple we met that was disappointed with the atmosphere. Like, it wasn't enough of a party atmosphere, wasn't enough of a younger crowd atmosphere. But to actually hate it, it would be hard to do that. It really would. And that'll do it for today's episode. If you have any questions about the resort or anything I mentioned, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have. If you're planning on visiting, Eva and I, gosh, we would jump at the opportunity to help. And as always, you can contact me anytime with questions or comments, show related, like this episode related, or just lifestyle related in general. I'm always here to listen, always here to help. Just hit me up. You can find me on Kik or Instagram at Evan Dienson, EvanDeanson, or simply email me at evandeanson@gmail.com. Until next time, my friends, be safe, be naughty, and take care.